Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Joshino, and today we're doing a patch breakdown of Paladins Street Style patch. Now, you may have noticed that actually there is now a naming convention for every patch. Like the other patches, Future's End, however they have taken away the actual number. So this is known as the Street Style patch. And in this patch there are quite a few additions. Now, the developers themselves did say that they weren't working on any big events or big gameplay changes or champions in the near future, as they are focusing a lot on bug fixes and also quality of life improvements. So there isn't a whole new event and there isn't a new champion in this patch, but there are still skins, as that is the way they make money, and a lot of these quality of life and bug fixes. And actually some of the quality of life fixes are actually more additions to the game that make the game better. And I think we just dive into those first. And that is, first of all, an addition with this hunt. The game improvement is a shooting range. In the shooting range is a new aim training exercise. And basically, if you go to the top level of the training room, I don't know whether they've added in stairs or you still have to sort of jump over the crates and things to get to the top, but there's like a circle, a bit like where you summon the Cassies to fire at you to test, I guess, your defense or healing. Once you activate it, it sets off all of these targets going around. They look like shields and they hover across your screen and you can shoot them. It's an aim training exercise. Now, this exercise can be made harder by going on and off of this spot on the ground, and it will keep summoning different versions and harder versions of this aim practice. So the first one is just sort of a horizontal slow one, then the second one is slightly faster on the horizontal, then you get horizontal and vertical, then finally there's almost like a hive of these targets spinning around, and it's very, very difficult to hit them all. And generally, I think this is great for the warm-up before a match and generally looks good. Although again, I do wish that the training mode could be played whilst you're queuing for matches, especially ranked matches that are slightly longer. My EU queues have been about 3 minutes, so they haven't been too bad, but I've seen quite a lot of people on the American side or out of the prime time of the game taking a little bit longer. And I think a big boost would be able to do this aim training and stuff like that whilst you're waiting for your game to pop. The second quality of life addition, and this is like the first step in many, is first person scaling of weapons, and the first champion that gets the treatment is Terminus, with his Massacre Axe being scaled down drastically. The axe before took up like half of the screen, and it like literally had so much screen real estate that it was affecting the game a little bit, because you see less of the screen. It's kind of like a block on what you see, and actually a lot of the weapons in the game do this. I think most weapons actually, and a lot of the skins are too big. But this one is definitely a positive change. You can see it's been scaled back significantly into the corner of the screen. And they said that the few that they're currently working on are Dragon Ball Moji and a few of the Furious Swords, which are rather large. All good in my opinion. The next one is a ping indicator for the heads-up display, the HUD. And currently you can toggle on PC by pressing F9 to see your ping and your status. However, they're changing it so it's a bit more like other games where you sometimes get those orange symbols, white symbols that come up that look like a broken Ethernet router or something like that if your internet connection is bad. However, in Paladins there's a sort of a no indicator if you're good, so like normal. A yellow one comes up for okay, but you've got a little bit of lag, and red for bad. So I think yellow is up to 175 ping, so you've got sort of a meh ping, and then red for bad above that. And I think the idea is to both give visual feedback to the player to know when they're lagging and to expect sort of weirder things to happen in the game because of client to server sort of relationship being a bit skewed if you have that lag. But also I think that that's part of the reason why they wanted to put it in, so people weren't necessarily thinking something was a bug when it was actually just their internet lagging. Either way, I think it's a good thing, and it is in a lot of other games as sort of the norm now. They also said that they're reducing the activity notifications when you log into the game, where it sort of spams you with loads of skins and things that have come out, which I guess is nice. Console is interesting, as they have support now to select players with a name if you're trying to select them specifically, and this is as Nintendo Switch has no limit on names, so you don't accidentally engage with the wrong person of a certain name. So if somebody's called Joshino, on the Switch, and there's like 500 of them, then you're not selecting the wrong Joshino. Another one is custom game pausing on console. So on the PC, it is /pause or /unpause, but now there's a menu button so that console players can do it too. So once you go to the escape menu, also for PC players, there will be a new sort of thing that you can change that just says pause on it, and it will pause the game on custom games. Now this could be the bane of your custom games, but actually just for scrims and for competitive players on console will be a good thing. I'd like to mix it up today, so instead of going straight into the bug fixes, I'm going to jump into the cosmetics for this patch. So this is the street style part of the street style patch, where basically there is sort of a catwalk slash sort of the sort of skater, like sort of over the top look, sort of more modern look on champions is coming out. And the first one is the street style Skye. It's almost a sort of skater girl type girl with long hair. I think it's the first time we've seen her with hair this long. Knee-high socks. Also, there's almost a dog slash Furby toy on her hip. The effects on this skin are very much sort of Jet Set Radio Future type deal, with also like cartoony bits coming out of them, stars and sort of like streaks of sort of blue and pink sort of neon cartoony effects. Kind of retro in some ways. The smoke and fire impact also has this sort of cartoony stars and things that erupt from them. Looks rather cool. And the roaming emote for Skye is you're basically just doing a catwalk strut, and part of the idea behind these skins is that it is sort of like modeling, the sort of catwalking all of their style, I guess. Anyway, I think Skye's probably the worst one out of them all, but next up is Street Style Maeve. This one has a kin on the chain on a hip instead of the dog's, and a very interesting haircut with two bunches and kind of like a different dye color in the center of it that's brown, and also a brown tail. I don't know how I feel about this one. It kind of almost looks like a bad or like a hair dyeing gone wrong. But she also has some headsets on which are pretty cool, and is wearing a hoodie, skirt and sneakers. It's kind of like the first of just modern day-ish normal looking champions, and I think it actually looks rather funky. But I think with Maeve, the weapons are where it gets really cool, with little cutesy cats on both the daggers, and almost like a rainbow-coloured hilt with the fabric of like a rainbowy colour fabric dangling off it. Also, the Prowl has stars VFX that is close to Skye's smoke motif, and that's the dagger's trail, and all the effects are kind of that colour. However, the ultimate is almost like a nightclub lighting that bounces around your enemies, and you sort of could be dancing around this neon sort of funky light. The roaming motif is Starlet with her jamming on a headset. It looks okay. All of the roaming emotes are kind of like understated, I'd say. They're not over the top. Next up is Street Style Ash. She's just wearing jeans, a leather jacket, and has a dog on her chain again. She's also wearing a pink cap backwards. Not sure if that's cool anymore. Anyway, she's got a dabbing chicken flag, and this is where people are going to be divided on the pro-dab versus anti-dab factions. And it looks a bit like the Realm Royale chicken. Plus, the weapon fires dog toys that explode. Well, they said there were toys on the developer patch preview, but we will never know if they're actually toys or real little doggies. And they sort of explode in a pinky blue smoke with a star. And there's almost like a set of panel disco lights inside her weapon. Plus, it has two cassettes on the front of the weapon, and also as a chicken on the front saluting you. There's a hell of a lot going on with the skin. It's definitely trying hard. Plus it generally has this sort of pinky over-the-top colour style. All of the effects again are this sort of pinky blue colour with smoke and stars and things. And the roam is almost like a bit of a swag walk, but again, not over the top too much. Last one in this lineup is Street Style Ying, with the Paladins snapback cap that you can actually buy in real life. I actually don't have one of these. hi-rez, send one out, please. Or should I say Evil Mojo. Then you also have this sort of cute jacket with midriff on show, denim skirt, and fishnets with boots. But again, where this skin gets rather amazing is the weapon. It's got like a corgi in the center of it looking at you. And I think that the animation on this thing is damn incredible, where there's like an iris of little metal rings that spins around and interlocks with this corgi in the center. I think that's incredible, like it's so detailed. There's sort of like techno wings on the outside of this mirror and speakers around it. Plus in the center, there's little doggy bones and cute little things in the center too. And yes, just generally looks rather cool. Her weapon and abilities have all this sort of pink and blue colours and poofs like the other street style skins. And her stroll on her back is almost like a boombox, which also looks rather epic as it's pulsing this sort of blue light around it. However, where the coolest part of the skin is where she ultimates, she says, "We will take the stage," then punches a Corgi through the mirror into an alternate realm. It really is that mad and rather crazy. Looks good. Looks good. Alongside all these street style stuff, there is a dabbing chicken death stamp. So once you kill somebody, it drops on the ground. Again, going to divide people's opinion a little bit. Then there's also sort of these emotes that are the animated ones that go above you with a strawberry, dabbing chicken, star, and shooting star animated emotes. Not only that, but there is a Atlas skin. This is the Atlas Legionnaire. So what if Atlas wasn't in a future where sentient life wasn't being extinctified by abyssal creatures? Then Atlas may have got to this point where it's kind of hard to tell who the Legion are. Are they sort of like a consolidated magistrate or a completely different empire in the realm? But it almost looks like a knight version of the skin. It almost looks like a knight version of the original Atlas, with Pegasus wings, motifs from the head to the pauldrons, and this has the set with the Legionnaire Victor 2. The weapon fires a blue glowing fire, plus in third person is kind of a mix of Space Marine, you can see in the boots and gloves, but more medieval or fantasy-esque knight a la Fernando. And finally, and whoa, one of my favourite skins, probably in the game coming forward soon, and going to make me play a lot more of Drogoz, is the Twitch Prime Drogoz, where he has become an eagle that is part of the Pyre, that's the faction with Furia, to give sort of an alternative to the Abyssal Drogoz that is already in the game, that's sort of the Demon Drogoz skin. And to get this, it is completely free to all Twitch Prime members, so if anyone takes out a trial for Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, then they can get this for free, and people like me that have Amazon Prime anyway will also get it for free. Wonderful. And generally does look epic, almost more of a Fury or Atlas looking gold and blue on the armor. Then the color of the wings, so this white and just generally being an eagle, plus like sort of the orangey color on the talons looks great. It just looks like it really pops in the realm. The rocket launcher fires a magical ball, plus there's a scroll on it that powers it, and the effects of the thrust is also this sort of pyre golden magical energy that's in the fire and everything else. The fire spit has almost like runes coming out of it, or like the spell words that are on the scroll on your weapon, and that's pretty cool. And the salvo also, once it's charged up, before you fire it, it has like a beam of light energy coming out the end of your rocket, which also looks incredible, and this sort of pulses across the whole of your actual rocket launcher. Anyway, those are all of the skins, so let's quickly go over the bug fixes before we go on to the balancing in the realm. So some of the general bug fixes are that bouncing projectiles, so this is Splitting Ice, Shock Bounce, Shock Pulse, and Grover's Deep Roots, were sometimes going through walls and ignoring them. Now this is fixed and should actually go, like, well, logically, so it doesn't go around a corner or something like that. They fixed an issue with the champion select screen. Sometimes when you selected champions in succession, it would put them with the wrong rig on and make them look like a demonic post-Slenderman or something like that, which made them look crazy, but that's been taken out. Sometimes champions rewound by Atlas, sometimes we're not able to cap the payload. Now this should be fixed and should be able to cap the payload. Plus they've reworked the capture point mechanic, and the overtime bugs and sort of weirdness should also go. They also talked about some map fixes, so Frog Isles and Jagger Falls had ledges that sometimes were slippery, and you could slide off it when they intersected with a slippery ledge, even though the ledge you're standing on was flat and you shouldn't fall off of it. Now that should be fixed. Let's move on to the champion fixes. Androxus nether steps. So on some of the skins, there were quieter nether steps than other skins, and now should all be equalized. Bomb King had a glowing green cosmic skin, which is also now fixed, which just looked like a glowing alien. Plus, sticky bombs sometimes stuck onto an enemy that was invulnerable or went into an ethereal state, so like an Eevee in an ice block, or a billowing Zin. Sometimes the sticky bombs would stay on them when they should drop off, and now they should all just be lost and just shed the sticky bombs whenever they go into this sort of ethereal state. Also, Marnie's Fireball has been changed in the description to be right from 1.2 to 1 second on the charge. Lex has had the assist bug fix, which was plaguing the matches, and Lex was actually banned in competitive because people assisting Lex with kills would get the bounty too, so they could get loads of credits. Now that's been taken away, it's been taken out, so Lex should be bad again. Well, pretty much. Maeve had sometimes lost their bonus damage after Prowl on Cat Burglar, which was annoying. Finally, Terminus had a few fixes, some interactions with Khan where he was stunned and would go a bit crazy, and other times when stunned when he'd ulti and just go a bit wild and should be fixed. Plus, an issue where he would show without his silhouette and health bar has also been fixed, so some big fixes again for Terminus. It just seems every time the Terminus gets some fixes. Finally, onto the balance for this patch. Ashe has had their base health reduced from 4,900 to 4,500. She's definitely been a top tier tank for a long while now, especially with Makoa being banned out. And I think this bit of an adjustment wasn't necessarily needed, but will maybe knock her from her queen spot to maybe not quite a queen. But I think it can be offset by the heavy metal loadout card, and she's not hugely bound by her loadouts rather than just being generally good with her ult and everything else she does with her own kit. Next up, Drogoz has had an interesting one. So you will inherit more momentum when using a booster shortly after using thrust. This will be best with the propel card, so after you propel and you've pushed yourself forward with your thruster, your boosters will actually push you forward quicker. I think that this is mostly going to help people not using worm jets, using Fusillade and things like that, to get in and out of fights and just generally be a bit more of a dodgy dragon or bird, seeing as the skin is coming out with the eagle. And it will work a bit like you're skiing, almost. Like if you imagine you're skiing along, it kind of works like that already. The old worm jets kind of work like that, so it will be a bit of the old worm jets, I think, into the base kit. Decimate's card has also been increased, so the Silver Explosion has gone from 8% at each level to 15% at each level. This will be one to watch out for, but I don't know whether it will be picked up. Just generally makes it much larger. Grok has had a card, Outreach, which basically changed the size of the totemic ward, but it was broken before, so it's kind of almost like a quality of life fix, but now correctly that's the size of the card and will scale correctly. Next up is Grover, and he's having a bit of an odd nerf for me. The crippling throw goes from 2 second duration to 1 second duration on the cripple. I think mainly they've done this for the Deep Roots legendary card, the talent card, because that root lasted for 2 seconds and it was super strong because it bounced around. And my only issue with this, it kind of nerfs his base ability with the cripple for the cripple build when it's the cripple build at fault. So I wonder whether they should have just made it so that the root was only 1 second on the people that were hit on the periphery then, and root only the first person for 2 seconds. I don't know. I don't know whether that's the strong part of the Grover, these two patches. He's just generally been good at healing rather than, I think, the cripple. But that's an interesting. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this one. Also, Koga's seen another nerf, and this is to the agility, the ability. The speed has gone from 50% to 30%, and especially on the Dragonfang's build, where it was up pretty much all of the time as you just kept spamming your agility, which would heal you and make you super fast and super jumpy with the right loadout, as you didn't have to use energy with anything else, and that's pretty much all you're doing, spamming agility and flowing your fangs. So it does again make the Dragonfang build less potent, but also makes all the other builds a little bit less potent too. I'm not sure whether the base Koga needs nerfing. Again, it's an interesting one because it just affects the Dragonfang's build mostly. But again, the 50% was actually quite high for saying how little the cost was for the agility, whereas Prowl has quite a hefty cooldown and was much lower. Lian's precision has also been changed to give an extra damage per shot from 2% to 5%. Now this could go up to 16%, but you should be getting to that max percentile much quicker now, which will make it much more of a potential pickup for the Lian players. And I still don't know whether it'll be, still don't know whether it'll take over from the Eminence build, but the presence is quite not there yet. Maeve's Savagery, the heal, now triggers on cast rather than hitting an enemy. This is the one that healed you if you pounced an enemy, now will just trigger straight away. The idea behind this is that hitting enemy with pounce is actually quite difficult, and you don't necessarily be doing that because pounce is usually an escape ability rather than an aggressive ability. Also, the prowl has gone from 4 seconds to 5 seconds, which is also kind of a buff to all of the cards that can heal you and stuff during the prowl. However, I don't think these two things are going to put Maeve into the meta anytime soon, but let me know what you think about these two, and I still don't know whether you take these over damage reduction and things like that, but the heal now could be used a bit more often. Pip has had a change, so the ultimate ability, Evil Mojo, no longer affects crowd control immune targets. So one of the quality of life changes is that there were just different levels of crowd control power before, and it wasn't very obvious what they were. So some were superior and some were normal, and this would affect everything, whereas some things would only affect normal and not affect superior. But now everything that's crowd control immune, like the Grok's Totem in Totemic Ward, will no longer be affected by that Evil Mojo, so they'll be immune to it. It just makes everything a little bit more simplified. Next up, Skye has an interesting change. Poison Bolt has gone from 30% damage percentile to 25% damage over its duration. This one's interesting. I don't necessarily think Skye is super powerful in this patch or anything. Just annoying. I think the Debilitate Skye has always been a little bit annoying. This makes her less potent, but then again, I don't necessarily think she's that amazing in the first place. But we'll just see how that one works out. Finally, Xin has had a change. Their billow duration has gone from 2.5 seconds base to 1.5 seconds. However, to counteract this, the movement speed has gone from 20 to 30% extra, and the lockout time after billow has also greatly been reduced. So you're going to be immune for less time, but you're going to be able to move away faster, and you're also not going to be locked out from billow as long, so you might be able to go straight into a counter or use a whirl or whatever after that billow, so you won't be sort of caught out. The idea is that it was kind of hard to track down Zins that would just be immune for ages, might get healed up very easily, but still they have this potential to dip in and out of the fights, and it'll be interesting to see how they work. However, they've also changed some cards. So Hideout used to change the duration of this billow. Sometimes you put some levels into this to get away. Instead, it gives you a cooldown on Whirl, reducing it from 1 second to 5 seconds, giving a reduction there. And I think that is pretty good. It could actually be used. The Whirl is actually rather potent, I think, and Whirl resets have been a big thing as well for sort of very aggressive Xin. Anyway, that is pretty much it from the Street Style patch. Be sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think of this patch breakdown? If you enjoyed the video, as always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more of my content, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, folks. Joshino.